Hello everyone and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots Podcast. I'm your host, Charles. Along with me as always is my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jacob Gloth. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I'm good. Are we doing this? Are we getting really close to the microphone? Yeah. This is also an in-person recording. We're doing it right after the last one.
Double.
Because it's a double. Because we didn't record last Saturday.
And I want to record today because I had an idea last night. I
had an epiphany.
I had developed an idea last night because a few weeks ago, Jacob got a look at my notebook.
I did.
And he saw...
By a few weeks ago, he means 4 days ago.
Don't let them see behind the curtain.
Okay.
Let them see how the sausage is made. He got a look at my notebook, and he had seen this idea for a show I had written out. And I had, like, the basic idea, and then a whole bunch of names of just characters. And that was it. No descriptions of the characters, no idea what's gonna happen. Just a whole bunch of names. And he made fun of me and said, yeah, this is probably what you have ready every week. And I said, no, I usually do more work than that. So this week, I've decided to do a little bit more work.
Oh my god.
And write out 3-word characteristics for every name, which I'm not going to read. But I am going to tell you about the sci-fi horror show that I have created, set deep in space.
How do you read your notes?
What do you mean?
It's just awful handwriting.
It's not that bad.
I mean, mine's bad, but yours is just horrendous.
But you're reading it upside down.
I mean, even upside down, it's just it looks like gibberish. Like,
The first letter
is this even
you don't have to
English?
worry-
Like, it's
You don't have to worry about that.
the series begins. Susan is having doubts about the
As the
morality
series
of
begins.
the experiments. She is afraid to talk to anyone because of fears of being reported. All right, explain the show.
All right.
That's the beginning of his story.
Well, our series takes place on an off-world scientific research base, set deep in space. Deep space.
Not deep underwater with
no,
dolphins.
It's not Pandorum, a movie that you've never seen. Boy, that's the twist ending. It's deep in space, and maybe it's like behind a moon or something. So you
Why does it have to be
see-
deep in space? Why can't it be like just sort of in space, but not like too deep, just like shallow space?
Because this is a secret off-the-books research center where black ops scientists, like scientists that are doing some really fucked up stuff, have, decided to continue their experiments away from all morals of human society, which is, at this point in time, developed out into space.
Okay, so
sections
humanity's
are-
in space, but they found a secret place to
They have this secret place
do sciencey stuff.
and they're funded by all of the world governments.
Oh, okay. So
They
it's
have secret funding from every world government.
Does every world government know that they're all contributing to this, or is it
Yes.
U.S. is like, yeah, this is our thing, and then China's like, oh, this is our thing,
No,
and
it's
they're just like, we're collecting all this dough.
No, they're like,
all
it's a
these people.
secret off-the-books thing that the whole, like, the UN, or whatever it is in the future, has agreed that we have to do these experiments even if they are really, really bad.
Okay.
For, morals and stuff. So our main scientist, Susan B., she is all the characters
Susan
have,
B. Anthony.
No, all the characters have their first name and then the letter of their last name.
Okay.
So, Susan B., she is a prodigy, she's remorseful, but, she's still doing these experiments. She still knows what she's doing, she just believes it's for the, betterment of humanity.
Okay.
And so, she is, and throughout the series, her arc is basically becoming aware that these people that they're experimenting on are, just as worthy of freedom as she is.
Oh, they're experimenting on people?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the thing. So, I'm not gonna read through all of the characters. I'm just gonna bring them up as they're important.
Okay.
But there's 2 levels of people who work on this space station.
Yeah.
There's scientists, and then there's workers. The workers, engineers and soldiers and stuff. The guys who keep the spaceship running.
It's a spaceship. It's not like
Or space station.
space
running.
station. Okay.
They have no idea what the scientists are doing.
Is this on like a planet or is it on like an asteroid?
It's like on an asteroid sort of situation.
Okay.
They have no idea what the scientists are up to.
Okay.
They
So they
just-
think it's just like agricultural science or something.
Or they're like, oh, they're developing pills,
Okay.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, they're our kind of our audience surrogate characters because they're just normal, space-faring people.
Yeah.
Kind of like truckers in space, like aliens, And so they're chilling, being happy, just working. While our scientists, which include Susan B., are doing these horrific experiments on 4 human test subjects that they have, available to them. The test subjects are Experiment B, Experiment J, Experiment N, and Experiment W. I don't have anything written next to them because they're like, horribly mutated, genetically engineered monster people.
Okay. Do the letters correspond to like anything?
Maybe it corresponds to their like last name when they were human.
Oh, okay.
Or when they were quote unquote human. Or
now they're just like horrific monsters.
Yeah. Now they're like, they're basically a sketchbook for these genetic scientists to work on.
To just
put
shit into
practice stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So they can help humanity develop. They're trying to help. They're trying to make people grow gills, and they're trying to make people be able to breathe in space, and all this other crazy sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
So that the humans can better colonize different worlds.
Yeah.
So they're using these 4 people as basically, test subjects to practice all these different, types of things on. So maybe this guy's got gills in his neck, and he also has like, bug eyes, and he's got like his arms have been shrunk down.
Yeah.
And his legs, he's like a dog man now or something. I don't know. It's weird. We're trying to make the experiment.
But they're like vaguely still look like human.
Yeah, they're vaguely human, and they still like have like human features. You could tell they were once man or woman, but they're now so beyond that they're like. Ugh.
Just weird. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And we're gonna keep them in the dark most of the time, obviously. Like, keep them kind of.
Oh, so you won't see them.
You won't see them a lot.
It's like the silhouette.
You'll see like maybe something like grabs a plate and pulls it in because they're eating or whatever, but you're not gonna see
The actual creature,
full
yeah.
thing until at least the end, if you see it at all.
Okay.
So our series starts. Susan is working on the experiments, but she's beginning to have doubts as she can like watch the, degradation, physical and mental, of these people. That she's like, they're not humans, they're not, but she keeps, her conscience is gnawing at her from the inside, being like, you're doing, some horrible shit up here, Susan. And she's like, yeah, I am. And so, but you can't have these conversations with anyone.
Yeah, because they'll report you, and then you'll be
reported to
mind
the
wiped
company,
or something, and then sent away.
Maybe something horrible happens to you if you're mind wiped. And so, as the experiments continue, she notices that one of the experiments, Experiment N, is beginning to show some like higher cognitive function than the other people in the experiments. Like, he's beginning to like be able to like recognize symbols and patterns and like trying to speak. And they've had their voices boxes clipped and all this stuff, so they can't, talk or anything like that. So she understands like, oh, this is a guy, this human brain, and he's just inside this horrible monster body. And so she kind of like goes and does extra sessions with him, and he basically becomes her pet, like her therapy animal that she talks to. And you can tell that Susan's trying to do the right thing and like comfort this person, but she's going about it the wrong way because she's not treating them like a person. It's a pet to her. Experiment N is a pet to her, and she's like, there's nothing I can really do about it, but I'm gonna, make it go away. I'm gonna try and comfort you. Maybe she's got this big master plan where she's gonna, maybe set all the experiments free. Or kill them or something. Like, put them out of their misery. That sort of thing. And before she's able to do any of that, she's caught by the other scientists, including Shannon R. And Levi H. Shannon R. is the top bioengineer of the space station. She's boastful.
The head?
She's not the head. She's the same level as all the other scientists. She's just got the most qualifications. She's boastful. She's genius. She's jealous, and she's beautiful. So any like up and coming scientists and up and coming like people that she sees as a threat, she is very, negative towards. So she's negative towards Susan because she's also a bioengineer and like very beautiful and, you know, she's smart and she might, you know, be coming for a job soon. So she's keeping an eye on Susan. And Bethany J is a friendly but naive new scientist who isn't the smartest in the world, but she's kind of Susan R's lackey. And she's not really aware of all of the really horrific shit going on at the station yet.
Yeah.
And then Levi H., who is one of the last scientists, is like this guy he's got a bit of a crush on Susan, and he's like trying to, you know, get in with her, but he's basically a sociopath. He's completely unable to see the experiments as anything more than basically, you know, lab monkeys.
Yeah.
You know? They might as well not be alive, for all he cares. So he's kind of unable to see any sort of humanity in them and unable to connect with Susan on that level. So he gets rejected one too many times. It kind of joins up with Shannon and is like, let's fuck this lady over. And our last scientist, who's basically, he's the lab boy. That's what everyone calls him. He's basically the lowest rung of the ladder.
Yeah, like, he gets your shit.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
you're like, I need 2 vials.
Yeah, he's Nigel Q. He's Susan's friend. Like, only real friend on the ship.
Yeah.
Or on the station. But he's, you know, he's a company man. He's loyal to the company. Because they pay his bills. Maybe he's got a daughter off-world that they're, you know, keeping in school.
Yeah.
So I think by the end of the series, she is, you know, found out that she's having this relationship with Experiment N. And, like, trying to free them or reverse whatever they've done or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's, you know, captured and she's told what's actually going to happen. She's like, you know, she's sat down by Shannon R., who's maybe been doing this for 10 years or something. Like, she's been here for a while. And she's like, well, you know, tried to screw over the company. You tried to release company assets and all this stuff, so we're gonna have to...
Oh, she can become an experiment?
Wipe you and clip your vocal cords, you know, reduce some of the cognitive function in your brain, obviously, and you will be... Oh, we've got an Experiment B, so we'll just toss them out the door, and you will be Experiment B as of 6 hours from now. And she's, like, explaining that you're going to be turned into...
And so the other ones are scientists, too. That
the meat canvas.
Okay.
Right, so the scientists are basically people who, you know, were against the morals of the station and all this stuff.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that, yeah.
And so she escapes, maybe with the help of Nigel Q. He feels bad, and he doesn't know that he's the lab boy, so he doesn't know that that's what's gonna happen. He thinks maybe she's just gonna get fired, sent back to Earth or whatever. And so he doesn't explicitly help her because he needs the money, but he, like, leaves something on the ground for her to pick her lock and her handcuffs.
Yeah.
She escapes, gets down to the lower levels of the station. Yeah. And, like, meets up with the workers and the engineering crew, who she hasn't really had that much interaction with. I haven't really talked about too much because they're kind of like the B story of the whole thing. But we have Kevin R., who's a rough and tumble engineer veteran of the work. He's basically the guy in charge. Yeah. Shelly B., she's the newest engineer, and she's got kind of a dark, violent past that may be useful in helping Susan in future activities. Got Catherine M., who's a wannabe scientist who's working on her doctorate in order to move up from the worker level.
Is she working on her doctorate? Is there, like, online school she's doing or something?
Yeah, space. And then Edward F., who's a spacewalker. He's got a death wish and he's a loose cannon. So he's like he's the guy who's like, I don't care. You know, I go outside into space. You know, he'll smoke a cigarette in a spacesuit. He doesn't give a shit. Yeah. They figured out a way to do that. So these 4, you know, colorful characters find Susan, or Susan finds them. It's like, you have to hide me. They're gonna turn me into... And she doesn't want to explain what they've been doing because they're gonna think she's a monster. It's like, you have to hide me. And, you know, she's hidden, and maybe the scientists come down, led by Shannon R. You know, they're talking. Maybe she talks with Catherine M. Because I think Catherine M. is gonna be like a kind of a younger version of Shannon R. Yeah. And maybe this happens earlier in the season, but I imagine her, like, Shannon R takes her apart, takes her with her, and she's like trying to take Catherine under her wing.
Yeah.
And she realizes like this girl's a genius, and she's gonna take my job, and whatever. And maybe they're going to space, you know, walk with a cargo hold, and she locks her in and launches her into space. Maybe that's like the 3rd episode, and you can see kind of the darkness within Shannon R.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe, or turns her into an experiment. You know, Catherine M is turned into Experiment M, and Experiment B is removed.
Oh.
Yeah, shot into space. But yeah, that's kind of the series I got.
Oh my god, you left us on a cliffhanger? Are you serious?
Yes,
here?
season 1 ends with her being.
You ran out of ideas at the cliffhanger? What the hell, Charles?
Of course, I left on a cliffhanger.
Are you serious? Are you really serious right now? So what happens next? So does she?
She's on the station.
She's on the station hiding. The other scientists just come down. They're talking, and then you end right there. You got nothing else.
No, the other scientists agree that she's not there. They're like, okay, we don't know where she is. Maybe that she launched an escape pod without being in it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she was on it. Okay, whatever. And the season ends.
Are you fucking
her
kidding me?
And the crew on the.
How do you do that?
Crew.
How do you do that?
Because I want a 2nd season, bitch.
Okay, but what's the 2nd season? What happens? Is she going to, convince the workers to rise up and fight the scientists? They're going to have some cool, like, sci-fi versus manpower scene?
But actually, you know what? I thought of a good idea on how to end the 1st season.
What's that?
One of the experiments gets loose. And, like, maybe it was Shannon R's personal experiment.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Catherine M. She, captured her and turned her to an experiment. And she's been tinkering with her, in a secret lab.
Yeah.
For the last, 8 episodes. And, as Shannon R is revealing everything to Susan B, she's like, fuck, what the hell am I gonna do? And, she escapes and, lets Catherine M out. Lets Experiment M out. And, she's just this mass of flesh and, different, body parts and different genetic mutations. Yeah. And she's, going through the, ship.
So it's like an alien moment where, everyone's gonna get murdered by this creature now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's maybe the top station and the bottom station are connected by an elevator. Between the engineers.
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
1st season's what you have, right? Mm-hmm. And 2nd season, at least the first few episodes, is basically the movie Alien.
Yeah.
And you have it's like a horror story following Susan B. Going through the station, trying to find her ally, saying everyone's strewn up and is messy and ripped up and such. And it's just trying to get around and survive and constantly running away from the alien monster thing.
And she's trying to get from the top station to the bottom station, but all the doors are locked and everything.
Well, I thought she was from the bottom trying to reach the top, maybe.
Okay.
Because isn't she at the bottom at the end of season 1?
Yeah, but maybe if she lets it out at the top, because that's where all the experiments are, at the top. So if she lets it out, and it's gonna kill.
But maybe she needs to get to the top so that she can lead it into one of its cage and then shut it.
Yeah, or get a signal out.
And maybe it'd be cool if she's about to die and then her friend, her Experiment N comes and saves her.
Yeah.
And then wrestles the thing into an airlock, and she has to close the airlock and open it, and killing them both, but she's saved by her experiment.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, so we have a hero moment for the destroyed monster thing.
Maybe he's now I'm imagining Experiment N as being a guy with a guy's face and feet and hands, but on a wiener dog body.
Oh, okay.
So he's got a wiener dog.
Well, we want it to be cool in her alien so that it can fight the other monster thing.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much our show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ends with them fighting in the airlock. We really get the end of the show here. We can't just leave it on an ambiguous note. So she gets rid of the monster. What happens then? So the space station's safe now.
Yeah.
And then she captures Shannon.
Experiment M is neutralized. Experiment N and Experiment M are both killed in the airlock.
Yeah.
And so she's like, all right, it's safe. We're okay. Everything's okay. And she realized, oh, there's been something draining the power all this time. There's no way for us to restart it, and the cages start opening for the other experiments.
Yeah.
That have been kept, hidden. And that's the end. Season 1 end.
Oh my
and
god.
Season
No, that's
2
season.
start.
That's season 2 ends. Season 1 ends with the experiment getting out. Season 2 ends with the other experiments getting out.
Yeah, and Season 3 starts with them getting picked up by the company, you know.
Yeah.
And they're like the first. I think it would be good if we start Season 3 with like an alien style thing. So the first episode is just like space commandos fighting these horrible like genetic monsters, and you know she escapes, but then it becomes like an espionage story as she's trying to like reveal to the public what these
What's
guys are
happening
doing.
here? Yeah, and
But-
she's like running away from the company.
Yeah, but like all of her data has been destroyed or confiscated. Maybe she's got a flash drive that, you know, she downloaded a bunch of stuff on earlier in the season or earlier in the series, and it's like been destroyed or something, and she's like just trying to put everything together. She meets up with like a conspiracy crew.
Yeah.
Network of conspiracy theories. Maybe, you know, a character we thought died in Season 1 is in Season 3, and they become like a super anti-company revolutionary, you know?
Yeah.
Like Nigel Q.
Yeah, he's leading like the rebellion people.
Yeah, maybe Nigel, like the company found out that he helped Susan B escape, and they like, his family died.
Oh, okay.
They're like, he, you know, they stopped paying for such
Oh,
and
we're really
such.
pushing this. Now we got a whole another storyline we gotta end. Charlie, you keep adding these huge stories, they're not gonna end. So then what happens there? Does she eventually releases it to the public, and then it's all good and happy?
Yeah, the season ends with, it's like at the end of Watchmen. All of the stuff is released to the public and being read on like national news, and maybe it's in a court case or something.
And she dies.
And no.
And a Watchman, Rorschach.
Yeah, but she's
She gets
not
blown
dead.
up by a blue
like,
spaceman dude.
Yes. They genetically
Dr.
engineered
Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan, except with a bigger dong.
Okay, I didn't need that.
Yeah, he's got a little baby dong in the
So we got the chaos of like everyone
and
knowing.
Maybe the series ends with her sitting on the like witness stand in the courtroom. You know, she's about to be cross-examined, or she's about to be, you know, have her questions asked by her defense attorney. And it's like, can you explain to us what happened on, you know, station?
Well, they'll be like, we'll start off like,
622?
what was your role at facility,
You know.
2964? She'll be like, I was the co-lead bioengineering scientist at Bio, and then it fades out to like.
Yeah, and it's like, or she just like, what was your role at blah 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 blah? She goes, and it cuts.
Fades out.
Black, and then it's a
And
cool song at the end.
Yep. Like.
I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. That song.
Okay.
What's that song called?
I have no idea. I fought the
Fought
law,
the Law.
probably.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to my episode of the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast.
Your episode.
Yes, my episode. No, my idea for the Very
This
Reasonable
episode.
Pilots podcast.
Episode 57.
57?
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to episode 57 of the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles Long. With me, as always, has been my co-host, editor, producer, co-pilot, and gunner, Jake Goff.
Yeah, that's me.
Yep, that's him.
That's
right there.
I'm here.
Yep. You can find us at VRP Podcast on Twitter. You can find me at Charles_Lungs on Twitter. If you would like to give us a subscribe or a like, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog. Do it. Tell them all. Tell them all about this great podcast you found.
Or you could not.
Or you could not, if you
Yeah.
don't want to.
I wouldn't want to.
Bye.
Bye.